Oh boy, I love a good mystery. Uh, that's what we have here in Conclave. Except it's a mystery within the Catholic Church, but not just any church. The highest church of the Catholic churches, the Vatican. I bet this movie fucking slaps if you're Catholic.
Yeah, for real. This
Yeah.
shit gotta be crazy.
Let's see how it fared with us three heathens. This is about Cardinal Lawrence, who's played by Ralph Fiennes. He is tasked with leading one of the world's most secretive and ancient events, selecting a new pope. He finds himself at the center of a web of conspiracies and intrigue that could shake the very foundation of the Catholic Church. So basically, when the movie opens, the pope is dead. He's what's called the dean, and he runs the conclave. Like, he's the one that organizes and runs the whole week of sequestering and voting for who is to be the new pope. This was directed by Edward Berger. It stars, as we said, Ralph Fiennes. It's got Stanley Tucci in it, John Lithgow. So pretty good cast.
So I didn't see the trailer or read anything about this. I was going to ask who else thought this was going to be another typical horror from just seeing the poster.
I thought it was going to be more in line with like Da Vinci Code. Like that type of mystery type of movie. And I was kind of excited to watch it because, like I said, I love mysteries. But unfortunately, the mystery of this movie wasn't really that mysterious at all. I mean, there's a couple of them, and none of them really landed that well, I thought. It's essentially exposing three of the front runners for the new pope. There's one guy, Cardinal Adeyemi, who I think is like Nigerian or something, and he's the front runner, and you find out that he impregnated a 19-year-old when he was 30. So he gets disqualified. You got John Lithgow playing Cardinal Tremblay, who you find out was like paying people off for support to be the new pope. Semini, yeah. So he gets disqualified. One of the other front runners, Tedesco, who's like a fucking Italian nationalist racist guy, and he's calling for like holy wars against Islam and like all this crazy shit.
Shit was wild.
And that's really
it's crazy that something like the Catholic Church also deals with conservative dumbasses trying to push back progress.
That's like the story going on throughout the movie, is that this guy, he's like a conservative, and the Pope that died in the beginning has been taking the church in a progressive direction for the last however many years he was Pope. Basically, there's a group of liberal cardinals who are all trying to like make it so that the conservative guy doesn't step up into the position of the Pope and take the church back like however many years. Like they don't want a regressive racist Pope. Totally fair.
Sound familiar?
Yeah. Well, so here's the thing. I got a little inside baseball into this because my cousin is a pastor. He's not Catholic. He's a Baptist pastor. And he's politically, he's a Democrat. So he's a shit lib. And by all accounts, he is like fairly liberal. He has told stories about in his church, one of his colleagues refused to marry a gay couple. My cousin offered, he's like, no, I'll do it. Like, that's ridiculous. Excuse me. So in those senses, to meets the eye, you're like, oh, wow, he's a progressive guy. That's pretty cool. But when you talk to him a little bit deeper, which I have many times because he's my cousin, he'll say stuff, and he's an older guy. He'll say stuff like, yeah, no, I don't have any problem with gay marriage. I just don't think we should call it marriage.
That's wild.
Because marriage is specifically between a man and a woman, as dictated by God.
So church indoctrination. Yeah, church indoctrination.
Insane.
So that's just to push back on what you said a little bit, that the church is conservative by nature. Like, there is no progressive church. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. No, that's true.
And along the way, we get a mysterious cardinal that nobody knew about. It's Cardinal Benitez, who is Mexican, but his church is in Kabul. And so apparently the Pope...
in the trenches. That's wild.
Apparently the Pope who has died kind of hid his existence because he's, cardinaling in like a very religiously aggressive part of the world. And so it would be dangerous to expose the Catholic Church in Kabul. Okay.
I thought it was great. I really enjoyed the plot. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. I said initially it felt slow, which it did, but thinking back on it, it wasn't really that slow. It was just different. I think this may be the first political thriller or whatever that I've ever seen.
It is a political thriller, just political in Catholic Church, not like in the government.
Yeah. So I think that's why it felt just different to me because I haven't seen movies like a
Yeah.
political thriller like this before. So
Yep.
I thought it was great though. It was good.
Yeah.
Cinematography was good. Cast was great. And yeah, big fan.
Yeah, no, it was a great film. I watched it actually 1.5 times.
Oh.
Because I watched it when it came out and I really enjoyed it. And I had not seen it in a little while, so I wanted to watch it. And I watched it, put it on the other night to watch with Christina, and I actually fell asleep because we were watching it late. She watched it the whole way through because she hadn't seen it yet, and she loved it too. So yeah,
I had to really put my atheistic biases aside for this though, because I thought the plot and story were like genuinely interesting. The mysteries that were going on, I was like, oh, this is like. I thought it was going to be more of like a mystery, like Da Vinci Code, like more fantasy type of thing. But it was like
not just secrets. It was more secrets than mystery.
Yeah, it was just kind of like little politics things that go on, and it was probably more realistic.
The only thing that I was curious about the movie is a 3D chess from the dead Pope, like because you hear some accusations of the Pope told me to do it. Well, that's between you and him. Did he tell some people to do some things so that he could set it up such that at the end he knew who would probably get the nomination over all the people that were bickering and clamoring for it?
Maybe.
How to get them out of the way to get the right person in? Like, was there some 3D chess going on from the Pope?
Maybe.
Because accusations were made, like the Pope told me to do it with some of these stories. So
Holy
one
Father.
could say it was divine intervention that led us to our
maybe.
Well, I was going to say,
here.
So for a little bit, I had a hard time thinking how incredibly stupid it is that these archaic rituals still exist. I thought the movie did a really good job of not being like it didn't have like an opinion on religion, whether it's bullshit or not. It wasn't about that. It was just about this is a group of people in this organization doing a thing. It just so happened to be the Catholic Church. So you say divine intervention. There were like very small moments and times where they hint at divine intervention, but the movie's not hinting at that's what's happening. It's showing that they think sometimes it's happening because of their devout beliefs. And it's like the wind blows through a little bit.
Yeah.
Or the bomb going off. And like, it's just coincidences that they probably are like, oh, it's God speaking to us.
Exactly.
But even still, the movie doesn't really do that at all. It's just these little small moments of that. To me, the whole movie's about like a specific thing, which is taking the church in a progressive direction, right? And so I'm just like, yeah, all right, like makes sense to me. So I'm done. I'm out. Like you're good. You won me over. So I don't really. I had trouble like that's why I said if you're Catholic, this probably slaps because you're probably like, in the tank for this shit, like one direction or the other. You're probably taking sides and like picking who's right and wrong and
instantly
rooting for something over the other. I didn't really care about any of that shit because I don't care, and I think this is all stupid. Of like guys walking around in robes and shit. It's fucking ridiculous.
No, those robes was fire though, especially the ones right here in this trailer.
Yeah, you rock that
color
shit.
Is sick. I just like the color.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so overall I liked it. The acting was great. Thought the sound design was excellent. The music specifically, it was all those like the horror movie kind of like cello sounds. So yeah, throughout the whole movie, they're like a couple of these guys. They're like, oh, telling Ralph Fiennes like, you got to do it. You got to step up. Like you're the obvious choice. Like we're running out of options here. And he's like, no, Stanley Tucci, you got to do it. Stanley Tucci like doesn't want it for some reason. But Ralph Fiennes, he specifically doesn't want to do it because he's having like a crisis of faith. In fact, he had a little bit of a beef with the Pope. Because he was like, hey, I want to step down from this position as dean, and I want to go do my own shit and figure out like what's going on with me and my faith. And the Pope was like, nah, man, you got to stay. And you kind of figure out later on that like, oh, well, the Pope wanted him to stay because he knew he was dying, and like he knew that he was the guy who had to like sift through all this drama and bullshit. And there's one point in the movie where the racist cardinal steps up and gives this big speech. It's after a car bombing by what they claim is Islamic terrorizers. And he's like, this is his big holy war speech. He's like, we fucking, let them come into our land. And it's like all this crazy racist bullshit that sounds very familiar if you're an American or just a citizen of the world. And our Mexican mystery cardinal steps up. And he says some stuff about like, you don't know what fucking war is. You haven't experienced it like I have in Kabul, blah, blah, blah. and gets a standing ovation, and he becomes like the automatic winner. Like they're all like, nah, this is the guy who needs to lead our church or needs to lead the Catholic Church. He's going to be the new pope. And they all vote for this guy. And he becomes the new pope. And we got like 5 minutes left in the movie. And you're like, great, they picked a pope. He's cool. He chooses his pope name, and I think it's like
Innocence.
Innocence. It's like, oh, wow. And dun, dun, dun. There was one final twist in the movie. And now, you know me, I'm a fucking militant, progressive leftist. And this is the...
What is a woman, Dan?
This is literally probably the only time I think wokeness has ruined a movie for me.
Wow. That's crazy. I was thinking about the ending because we kind of talked about it, like I said, but I think it actually is a good ending.
Okay.
Like the whole male only priest thing in the Catholic Church never sat right with me anyway. Like this whole patriarchy thing.
Yeah.
And they voted for this person because of their beliefs, right? Mm-hmm. Like his organs shouldn't matter. So his morals are what matters. And I think they're trying to drill that with the ending. Like,
yeah,
that's what I got out of it.
I could totally see that interpretation of it. So to be specific, it's revealed that this Mexican cardinal was born with ovaries and what was it?
Uterus.
A uterus, yeah. And
it's got both.
Yeah, and they discovered it. He's intersex, is what the new term is now. He discovered it by accident, like having like a fucking his appendix removed or something like that. And he chose to not have those organs removed because in his mind, that's how God made him. Fair enough. And then the movie just fucking ends though. And it's like, oh. So now the church is going to be led by an intersex person. And I totally am down with what you just said about it. And I don't care that he's intersex. Like, I want to make that clear. Like, I don't give a fuck.
You don't. But
no, people do for sure.
Oh, every one of those other cardinals would.
Oh yeah, he could be trans, gay, black, white, yellow, Mexican. I don't give a fuck what he is. Fine. I have no hate for anybody except for fascists. But the reason I thought it ruined the movie is not because it was like woke or anything. It just seemed unnecessary. The whole point of the movie was to elect a new pope who would continue to take the church in a progressive direction instead of electing some regressive, conservative, racist scumfuck. But the movie already executed the point, I thought. So this just like elevated it to like the next level of that, which is like, but what if? Like, it kind of, I get it that it like raised the question of like, yeah, there's a bunch of liberal cardinals, but how liberal are they? They may not be racist against Muslims like this other dude, but let's toss this in the mix and see what they do. But we don't even see it, so it was pointless. Is my point. Like, we don't see the fallout of it. We don't see the reactions of it. It's just like he just like saves a turtle, and then like the movie's over.
But it raises a question.
It raises a question that I don't actually think needed to be raised. Is my point, because the movie already raised the question. I thought. Without
this coming up, what question or what big reveal is there? Just that a Mexican guy is the Pope? Like, that's not that big of a revelation.
No, I don't. That's what I'm saying. I don't know that there needed to be a revelation. The Catholic Church has like a fuck ton of power on the planet. The Vatican is like its own fucking thing. It's not even part. It's like not even
country.
It's like its own country. They don't pay taxes. Like they're very powerful. And so the drama of the movie is like, hey, we represent this like massive, massive force in the world. We have to like represent God's will and word, but also be respectful to other people on the planet who might not believe what we believe, and try to like softly spread the word to them instead of like the Crusades where they were like burning motherfuckers on the stake and shit.
Yeah.
I thought that was like the overall message of like, let's spread the word of God in a progressive manner. And so with this reveal,
I think that's still the main message.
No, it is, but I just think that with this reveal, it like elevated it to the next level. Like I said, it's like, so we know that everybody's okay with a black pope because he
was about to win. Basically.
Adeyemi was about to win. We know that some people would be okay with like a racist guy. We know that some people would be okay with the Mexican guy because he got nominated, right? But we don't know what would happen if they were like, if they found out about this, because the Pope clearly hid him for this reason, not because he was preaching in Kabul. It was because of this.
Exactly.
So even the Pope did like that, and that's like the final reveal is like, oh, the church is kind of progressive now, but how progressive are they? Could this fucking destroy the Catholic Church?
Yeah.
Or will everybody be okay with it? And then the movie just ends is really where my problem is because it raises this question that I don't even care about and didn't show me any of the fallout or anything. If they opened with this, like, hey, here's this intersex guy, and then that was the drama of the movie, I'd have been like, oh, fucking cool. Like, but we didn't see it play out. We don't see the results of it is really kind of like my main issue, I think.
I just think it's the question of like, does this invalidate your choice? Because like I said, like,
100%.
it's his morals that matters and what he stands for, not his fucking organs.
That's what should matter, right?
That's what should matter, right?
Will that be enough for these group of people who now voted him in? Why raise the question if you're not going to answer? Are you asking the audience? Well,
I think it's asking the audience in the
atheist.
world.
I don't give
like,
a fuck who the Pope is. You know what I mean? So,
well, yeah, you specifically.
Well,
but
that's why it was weird. I just, I don't know. It just felt a little bit weird. Like, so was the movie made for like Catholics specifically? I don't know.
It doesn't have to be like, it doesn't have to apply to someone becoming the Pope specifically. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
That's fair. I mean, and I also agree with you what you said about like, the movie does do a lot of power dynamic stuff with men and women and the priests. I mean, the cardinals versus the nuns. The nuns are the cleaning ladies. They're the cooks. They clean up after everybody. They serve everybody. They're not supposed to speak. In fact, there's a scene with the head nun who steps up and she says, hey, I know I'm supposed to keep my fucking mouth shut, but like, right. I'm going to say some shit here. It's the whole intersex part of it that I just don't know what was the point, really. That's why I said I had to put my biases aside because, like, I don't give a fuck who you are as a person. For me, everything is about who you are as a human being. Are you morally good? Are you this or that? Do you hold my values?
Yeah, but you're not the norm. Like,
no, I know. But
even when it comes to something like President of the United States, it's like, I guess if that were to be discovered about the President of the United States, that would be like it would be an outrage. It's the same shit.
No, for sure.
Like, it doesn't have to be the Pope or anything religious even. Like,
yeah, I guess I just feel like at this particular time in society with the culture war bullshit and the politics and all this stuff, I feel like the fact that they made the character intersex was like a very specific strategy rather than just making it like a straight up, like why could have just elected the nun. It would have had the same effect.
I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying, but if someone identifies as a man, like it's different than if it's a nun. It's completely different.
No, that's true. Yeah. But I don't know. I guess to say it ruined the movie was a little bit a little bit.
I mean, that's your opinion.
I don't think it ruined the movie. I still enjoyed the movie. I just thought that last 10 minutes, I was just like, what the fuck? Like, why? Why was this here? Kind of thing.
That's what I thought too. I was just thinking about it.
No, you make very valid points.
I thought the vaping was cracking me up in this movie.
Well,
even the holiest of men need that nicotine.
Well, and again, that's where I thought the strength of the movie is it showed all these people in a very human light. And like,
showed a pile of butts.
Yeah, they smoke cigarettes, they vape, they fuck, they have slip ups. They're not perfect people because they are just people.
That's
and
right.
like, so one of them has a lack of faith. One of them's fucking,
one's a drunkard.
One's a drunk. Like, so I thought it did a really good job of making these people human beings and seeing them as not these like, more like these godlike figures if you're religious, because that's how they look. People look up to these people like that. It has a 7.4 on IMDb. I'm right there with it. I'd give it a 7.5 for sure.
Yeah, it's a solid 8.
Strong 7 for me.
Strong 7.
Strong.
Yeah. It's a good movie.
It's definitely worth a watch. After trying to rewatch it a second time, I had already seen it, so I kind of passed out. I was tired anyways, but
I don't know that it would get a rewatch from me, but definitely enjoyed it for the one time.
I don't think it has like a rewatch every year type of thing.
Nah.
But I could probably rewatch it knowing the twist at the end and just looking for any type of other little things in
That's
the
fair.
movie. I could find some enjoyment in that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. But yeah, that's Conclave, folks. Check it out if you haven't. If you have, leave a comment and let us know what you thought of it.